In Class 1 Division 2 areas where methane gas is present, special considerations must be taken when running underground conduits to ensure electrical safety. A common challenge arises when transitioning from underground conduits to above-ground enclosures, specifically concerning the placement of seal-offs. Seal-offs are crucial components designed to prevent the propagation of explosions from one area to another by sealing conduits and preventing the passage of flammable gases or vapors. When dealing with underground conduits, the typical approach of installing seal-offs at the point of entry into an enclosure, such as a motor control center or MCC, may not be feasible due to the underground nature of the installation. Here's a detailed method to resolve the seal-off issue for underground conduits in Class 1 Division 2 areas with methane gas. The primary solution involves the use of an underground Class 1 Division 2 approved conduit seal. This requires installing a certified Class 1 Division 2 conduit seal at the point where the conduit enters the pullbox from the underground. The seal must be specifically designed for underground installations and be compatible with the conduit type and the specific gas present, in this case, methane. It is imperative to ensure that the seal is properly installed and tested according to the manufacturer's instructions to guarantee its effectiveness. Several additional factors should be considered to enhance safety and compliance. Firstly, conduit slope is a critical consideration. The conduit should be sloped towards the pullbox. This prevents water or gas accumulation within the conduit, reducing the risk of corrosion and potential hazards associated with gas buildup. Secondly, conduit fill must be carefully managed. Keep the conduit fill to less than 40%. This allowance facilitates gas dispersal, preventing the concentration of methane within the conduit, which could lead to an explosive environment. Thirdly, limiting conductor count is essential. Avoid overcrowding the conduit with conductors, as this can restrict gas flow and potentially create an ignition hazard. Adequate space within the conduit helps in the natural ventilation and dispersal of any methane that might be present. Fourthly, non-sparking materials should be used. Use non-sparking materials for all components within the Class 1 Division 2 area. This includes conduit fittings, pull boxes, and termination points. The use of such materials minimizes the risk of accidental ignition. Fifthly, proper grounding is a fundamental safety requirement. Ensure proper grounding of all electrical equipment in the Class 1 Division 2 area. This includes the conduits and the pullbox, providing a safe path for fault currents and reducing the risk of electrical shock or arcing, which could ignite methane gas. Sixthly, ventilation is an important aspect to consider. Provide adequate ventilation in the pullbox and surrounding areas to prevent gas buildup. Natural or forced ventilation can help maintain a safe atmosphere by dissipating any methane that might accumulate. To ensure compliance and safety, always consult with the local code authority and a qualified electrical engineer. This ensures adherence to all applicable regulations and standards, as codes and regulations can vary by location. The specifics of the installation should align with both national and local requirements. Now, let's delve into some further technical details and best practices for implementing these solutions. When selecting a Class 1 Division 2 approved conduit seal for underground use, verify that it meets the following criteria. Firstly, certification standards are key. The seal must be certified by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories or UL, or another equivalent certifying body. This certification ensures that the seal has been tested and meets the stringent requirements for use in hazardous locations. Secondly, material compatibility is crucial. The seal should be made of materials that are compatible with the specific type of gas present, in this case, methane, as well as with the environmental conditions of the underground installation. Corrosion-resistant materials are preferable to ensure longevity and reliability. Thirdly, installation requirements must be followed. Follow the manufacturer's instructions meticulously during installation. Proper installation is essential for the seal to function effectively. This includes using the correct sealing compound and ensuring that the seal is properly tightened and secured. When sloping the conduit towards the pullbox, maintain a consistent slope of at least 1/4 inch per foot. This ensures effective drainage of water and prevents gas accumulation. Use appropriate fittings and supports to maintain the slope throughout the conduit run. Regarding conduit fill, calculate the fill percentage according to the National Electrical Code or NEC. The NEC specifies the maximum allowable fill for conduits based on the number and size of conductors. Staying below the 40% fill limit not only aids in gas dispersal, but also simplifies conductor pulling and reduces the risk of insulation damage. When selecting conductors, opt for those with a high temperature rating. This provides an extra margin of safety, especially in environments where the ambient temperature may be elevated. Additionally, consider using conductors with a chemically resistant insulation to withstand exposure to moisture and other potential contaminants in the underground environment. Non-sparking tools and equipment are indispensable when working in Class 1 Division 2 areas. Ensure that all tools, including wrenches, screwdrivers, and cutting tools, are made of non-sparking materials such as brass or aluminum. This minimizes the risk of generating sparks that could ignite methane gas. For grounding, adhere to the grounding requirements outlined in the NEC. This includes using appropriately sized grounding conductors and ensuring that all equipment is properly bonded to the grounding system. The grounding system should be regularly inspected and tested to verify its effectiveness. Ventilation can be achieved through natural or mechanical means. Natural ventilation involves the use of vents or openings in the pullbox to allow for the free flow of air. Mechanical ventilation utilizes fans or blowers to actively circulate air. The choice between natural and mechanical ventilation depends on the specific characteristics of the installation and the surrounding environment. Regular inspections and maintenance are vital for ensuring the continued safety and reliability of the electrical system in a Class 1 Division 2 area. Conduct periodic inspections to check for signs of damage, corrosion, or deterioration. Replace any components that show signs of wear or failure. Keep detailed records of all inspections, maintenance activities, and repairs. This documentation is essential for demonstrating compliance with regulations and for tracking the performance of the system over time. Training is also crucial for personnel working in Class 1 Division 2 areas. Ensure that all electricians, technicians, and other personnel who work on or near the electrical system receive adequate training on the hazards associated with hazardous locations and on the proper procedures for working safely. This training should cover topics such as the identification of hazardous locations, the use of personal protective equipment, and the operation of specialized equipment. Furthermore, it is beneficial to implement a comprehensive safety management system that includes written procedures, hazard assessments, and emergency response plans. This system should be regularly reviewed and updated to reflect changes in regulations or industry best practices. In summary, resolving seal-off issues for underground conduits in Class 1 Division 2 areas with methane gas requires a multifaceted approach that includes the use of certified underground conduit seals, careful attention to conduit slope and fill, the selection of appropriate materials and equipment, and the implementation of robust safety measures. By adhering to these guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, it is possible to create a safe and compliant electrical installation that minimizes the risk of explosions and protects personnel and property. It's crucial to remember that electrical work in hazardous locations demands meticulous attention to detail and a thorough understanding of applicable codes and standards. Staying informed and proactive is key to ensuring a safe working environment. When installing the underground conduit seal, prepare the conduit ends properly. Clean the conduit ends thoroughly to remove any dirt, debris, or corrosion. Use a wire brush or other suitable tool to ensure a clean surface for the seal to adhere to. Apply the sealing compound evenly and generously to both the conduit ends and the seal. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for the recommended amount and application technique. Ensure that the seal is properly aligned with the conduit and that it is fully seated. Tighten any screws or clamps to secure the seal in place. After installation, inspect the seal carefully to ensure that there are no gaps or voids. If any imperfections are found, reapply the sealing compound and retighten the seal. Conduct a pressure test of the seal to verify its integrity. Use a suitable pressure testing device to apply pressure to the inside of the conduit. Monitor the pressure gauge to ensure that there are no leaks. If any leaks are detected, repair or replace the seal. Document the installation process, including the date, time, location, and the name of the installer. Keep records of all inspections, tests, and repairs. This documentation can be valuable for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Consider using a flexible conduit for the final connection to the control panel. This can help to absorb vibrations and prevent stress on the seal. Ensure that the flexible conduit is also rated for use in Class 1 Division 2 areas. Provide strain relief for the conductors at both ends of the conduit run. This can help to prevent damage to the conductors and the terminations. Use appropriate cable glands or connectors to secure the conductors and provide strain relief. If the pullbox is located in a high traffic area, consider installing a protective cover or barrier to prevent damage from vehicles or equipment. The cover should be made of a durable material that can withstand the anticipated loads. Implement a lockout/tagout procedure for any electrical work in the Class 1 Division 2 area. This will help to prevent accidental energization of the equipment during maintenance or repairs. Ensure that all personnel are trained on the lockout/tagout procedure and that they follow it consistently. Install signage to warn personnel of the hazards associated with the Class 1 Division 2 area. The signage should be clearly visible and legible. It should include information about the type of hazard, the precautions to take, and the emergency procedures to follow. Establish a regular inspection and maintenance schedule for the electrical system in the Class 1 Division 2 area. The schedule should include inspections of the conduit seals, the grounding system, the ventilation system, and all other critical components. Conduct these inspections at least annually or more frequently if necessary. Keep a supply of spare parts on hand for any critical components that may need to be replaced. This will help to minimize downtime in the event of a failure. Consider using a remote monitoring system to monitor the condition of the electrical system in the Class 1 Division 2 area. This system can provide early warning of potential problems, such as gas leaks or equipment failures. The system can also be used to track key performance indicators such as temperature, humidity, and gas concentration. Implement a formal change management process for any modifications or upgrades to the electrical system in the Class 1 Division 2 area. This process should include a hazard assessment or review of the design and a formal approval process. Ensure that all changes are properly documented and that they comply with all applicable codes and standards. Develop and implement an emergency response plan for the Class 1 Division 2 area. This plan should include procedures for responding to gas leaks, fires, explosions, and other emergencies. Ensure that all personnel are trained on the emergency response plan and that they know how to implement it effectively. Conduct regular drills to test the emergency response plan and to identify any areas that need improvement. Coordinate with local emergency responders, such as the fire department and the hazardous materials team, to ensure that they are familiar with the facility and the potential hazards. Maintain open communication with all stakeholders, including employees, contractors, and regulatory agencies. This will help to ensure that everyone is aware of the potential hazards and that they are working together to maintain a safe working environment. Seek feedback from stakeholders on ways to improve safety and to prevent accidents. Continuously strive to improve the safety culture at the facility. This includes promoting a culture of open communication, encouraging employees to report hazards, and recognizing and rewarding safe behavior. Provide regular safety training to all personnel. The training should be tailored to the specific hazards of the workplace and it should be updated regularly to reflect changes in regulations or industry best practices. Make safety a priority in all aspects of the operation. This includes incorporating safety considerations into the design of new equipment, the selection of materials, and the development of work procedures. By implementing these additional measures, the safety and reliability of the electrical system in the Class 1 Division 2 area can be further enhanced. Remember that safety is an ongoing process and that it requires constant vigilance and attention to detail.